Yo, 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 what is going on, RoK Familia? It is your boy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder, and today I wanted to touch on just very hurtful words that I was reading on the Jumper Community Discord. There's a general chat for pretty much the public people there, and to give you some context, the Jumper Community Discord is essentially, from what I understand and from what I believe, is the largest Discord for jumpers, logistical managing for projects. So you'll have leaders, you'll have officers, and then players as well. A lot of great content if you're looking to get good information on the jumping process, learn more, meet people. Great community for that. But there was a conversation that happened here on the chat, and I wanted to point it out because most of you know, I'm not typically one these days for going hard in the paint on the homies. But there was a level of blasphemy that was said, which I have to say something because it was arguably the worst advice some of the worst advice that I have ever seen given. And even though I'm going to point the person out, I want to be very clear is that I don't know the individual. I don't know how they are personally. I'm only going to focus on the words that they chose to use in this moment. That isn't saying that we're just now going to blatantly characterize the entire individual as the words that they said. But I do want to focus on the words because I've heard other people say these things as well. So yes, there might be a little bit of education happening. If you enjoy some of this type of content, make sure you sub, like, ring the notification bell, and of course, if you want to join and be a part of our conversation, hit up the Discord. You can find a link to that in the pinned comment description down below. So the conversation starts here, and I don't really know how high it goes, but there was a conversation happening about people going to server 3000. Let me preface this by saying, for those of you who may not know, I was running a project, the largest project at the time, that we knew about, where we pretty much could have went to 2000 if we wanted to. We opted to go to 2001 for obvious reasons. And some of these reasons I had explained to someone you're going to see post here in a moment. So you see them talking about this, and I think we get down here where we go to image about yourself. Here we go, right? So this kind of starts where it's, right, aka future biggest project in RoK's history with Mike. And then this person said, okay, image about yourself, not want to join the German community. Then we have, let's see if you succeed. I'd say no, as you already skipped 3000, whilst you were so sure of yourself as a physician. But I wish you the best of luck in future kingdoms. Let us know if you did succeed or not. He says, yes, agreed. You seem like a person who wants to start something but doesn't know how to, or either doesn't have confidence it will work. You changed so quickly about not doing 3000. And then we have Mike who says, also, I skipped 3000 but listened to suggestions of others, and also 3000. It's going to be really hard to take control of, like BN said yesterday to me in Leaders Chat, which I did comment, and I just threw some things out there. I'm not going to show Leaders Chat because it is private. Is going to have I guess I could just... There we go. And not that it really matters because it was already showing. But it says succeeding. And even if we did succeed and all of our members made it, keep in mind there will be Viets, Koreans, Chinese. I mean, pretty much, I think in short, the point is there's going to be a lot of diversity. For anyone who never went to 2000, keep in mind, there's only been one Millennium Kingdom so far, right? It's 2000. As I said, I had the largest group going there, and I prepped that project for 2.5 weeks. And I had 400 confirmed players, had about 800 people that joined the Discord in that time. Again, we were the largest that we knew of. But the problem is that when you have these types of high-value kingdoms, right, your 1500s, your 2500s, I mean, really, in short, I don't know if people really care about those types of things. I've never necessarily seen a huge amount of buzz around 500, every 500 kingdom, but I have seen the amount of buzz that happened in 2000, and there's nothing to indicate otherwise that will not happen when 3000 comes around. So, I'm reading further, and we have, right, keep in mind, it will be like that in other kingdoms. not just 3,000. You just need to know how and when to deal with it. It really depends on where Fabby's going with that. There's a lot more that goes into considering to going to Millennium Kingdom. So, right, Mike said, there's going to be up tons of jumpers. The challenge is that one of the challenges with Millennium Kingdom is there's no guarantee you're going to get all your players in. When you have a kingdom that gets a lot of buzz, and typically, this is going to be the second time that it's happened so far in RoK's history, you're going to get a lot of people that are going to want to go to the kingdom. Therefore, you're going to get a lot of jumpers that are going to want to go to the kingdom. So it actually creates a more high volume, high volatile situation where there's even less of a chance that you're going to be able to get the majority of your players in, because there's just going to be so much buzz and marketing and hype around the kingdom. You pretty much would have to default to running kind of a 10-day delay where you start off in a kingdom that's closer to 3,000 and then kind of do the jump backwards, right? That's kind of what you would most likely have to rely on as your kind of half and half option, not even really a backup, but just more of a second primary. Or you just kind of do the regular thing and you just join the kingdom day one, right? There's always that option as you're back to the backup. But as I'm reading, right, you see it's going to be special, lots of jumpers. You seem so doubtful of what you can do with 3,000 will be like. Lol, we thought half of us were going to 2,900, but everyone got in and we capped it. Again, I don't see 2,900 as being as interesting as 3,000. I don't even see 2,500 as being as interesting, depending on how others view it. It's just, like I said, I've never seen a lot of buzz around non-Millennium Kingdoms, especially as much as they give. And there's only been one so far, which is 2,000, and I was right in the middle of 2,000. And I can tell you there was 5 to 6 projects that I knew about, excluding ones that you don't know about on Discord. And that's the thing that most project leads just do not take into consideration is, you're going and looking at the projects that are kind of on your sphere, which is the languages you have access to, the platforms you have access to. People use VK. People use, Weibo? People will use Facebook groups to organize their projects, and you'll never hear about them unless you take time to go out there and find it, right, or find out about them. So you kind of always have to apply that margin of error. That's why I would always rather go to just a random kingdom. Like I'd rather go to 2587, right, something like that as an example, compared to going to a 100 kingdom, a 250, a 500, and let alone a 1,000. But then we get to this point where, and this is really where I'm getting at, is you have the back and forth here, and we have, right, you're right, I'm not risking, I don't want to risk it. Not everyone takes jump seriously. Risk is a fun part of life. Wasting people's money and time if failed, right? Who's going to take the shame if I failed? Yeah, exactly. And then Fabi says, if you failed, so be it. Start again. People wasting money. I doubt they will leave the account, but it's whatever. I just want to see you succeed. If you don't, then so be it. It doesn't matter if you fail. Failing is good. Why? Because, and I just want to point this out. This is the line that really gets me, where he says, this person says, if you failed, so be it. Start again. First off, that is the worst mindset to have in the history of mindsets when you are leading a project, even if you're just in management for a project. Nobody is going in with the mindset of wanting to fail. And nobody should be going in with the mindset of, oh yeah, if it fails, I'm just going to start again. No. That should not even be on the spectrum, right? That should be something that you don't even think about until you've put every ounce of effort, of passion, of hard work into making your project be as successful as possible, right? Because once your project finishes and it transitions into now the kingdom, which every project does, right, then it's not really about the project, it's now more about the kingdom. And again, this is really just what gets me is that, some people have this mindset where it's like, okay, it failed, just start again. I'm going to tell you right now, I hate restarting. It is, for anyone that's known me for a while, ever since I did my first project in 1904 and my second in 2001, people know, if you were with me there, I hate restarting. I never want to restart. It is never my plan to restart. I only do it for specific reasons. And the main reason is because I want to be able to build a kingdom in my image, in my vision. That's the only reason, right? I don't restart because my projects fail. I don't restart because, the project got completely outnumbered or they lost a big civil war against another project. Never. And what's funny is that some people think that just because I leave a project, it means the project's failed. You couldn't be farther from the truth because you just don't understand, unfortunately for those individuals, really what jumping is all about. The value of a project and what really goes into whether or not one succeeds or it truly doesn't. I can say I've actually had one project that when I really look at it objectively, I could say did not succeed, but it was more of an uncontrollable, and again, you can argue the controllable, uncontrollable part, but, when you come across a situation where you have just people that will spend an exuberant amount of money, it does create an uphill battle. And usually the best way to kind of address those things is to do it early on, though there's no guarantee that even if you do it early on, you're ever going to really be able to stop anyone. But that was the only situation I've ever come across myself where even though I think half of the group stayed and they kept playing, this was in 2001, and the other half of them left and went to I think one of the high 1990s. You still had a situation where for a decent period of time there was still majority control, there was still majority presence, but the majority of people in the project, right, were not able. The project still continued just in its own kind of new form that shaped. But that to me is, the only one that you can kind of argue controllable versus uncontrollable. But when you have this type of, just individuals, right, I'll say, that say these types of things, it does paint such a poor picture on the scene. Because it makes it so when people read that, they can think to themselves, oh, wow, this must just be acceptable. This must just be, oh, it's cool. I'm just going to do a project. Who cares if it fails or it succeeds? I'll just restart. Never going with that mindset. That, again, is the worst mindset that you can go in with. And it pains me when I see just anyone, right? And like I said, I don't know this person. I don't know who they are personally. But what I am focusing on is the words here. And I would never label someone as saying, oh, well, this is you, and this is how you're always going to be. But this is unfortunate. And I honestly just don't like when people say stuff like this. It sets such a bad, I don't want to say trend. I don't even know if I want to say precedent, but I guess maybe even sets a bad standard on the expectations that some people can have coming in. So that's my take on it. That's my spiel, if you will. And I hope this video at least helps provide some context on situations when, one, you kind of come across Millennium Kingdoms, two, the type of mindset to have when you're really leading a project, because you just have to have a good understanding of a lot and what goes into it. And then three, which kind of goes back to what I always say, one of the things I always say is, do your research, do your due diligence, join a bunch of different groups and a bunch of different projects and see which ones really stick. Whether you want to be a player, you want to be an officer, you want to be a leader in a project, compare, right? Do your research. So yeah, that's it for me. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. Please feel free at all. Let me know in the comments down below, right? Have you been in a project before where someone has said that so casually? You know what it reminds me? It reminds me of the people that say, oh, it's just a game. Oh, gosh, that is the most disappointing and disrespectful thing that people can say. And this kind of reminds me of that. But I would love to know if you've been in a project or you've played with a group and they've said that and then they actually went to go and do it, right? I would love to know how that happened, right? How did you feel when that happened? And do you kind of lean on one side or the other? So let me know down there in the comments. That's it for me. As always, until next time, I'll catch you later.